More than 2,000 years ago, in the deserts of Egypt, millions of dogs were buried. Not discarded, not abandoned, buried deliberately. Some were carefully wrapped, others were laid to rest in vast underground catacombs stretching beneath the sand. Why would an ancient civilization dedicate so much effort to dogs? We'll come back to that. Because to understand why millions of dogs were buried in ancient Egypt, we first need to understand how dogs came to exist in the first place, and that's where the story becomes even stranger. Thousands of years before the pyramids were built, before the first cities appeared, and before humans had learned to farm, a dangerous predator began following people. That predator was the wolf. Today, nearly 1 billion dogs live alongside humans. They can detect diseases, they can learn hundreds of words, they guide the blind, protect livestock, rescue people from disasters, and some scientists believe they may have helped humans become one of the most successful species on Earth. But none of that was supposed to happen. Dogs were never planned, they were never designed, and yet somehow a wild hunter became humanity's closest companion. So how did it happen? The answer begins with a chance encounter that would eventually change the course of human history. But first, remember those millions of dogs buried beneath the Egyptian desert. The reason they were there reveals just how important dogs had become to human civilization, and it all started with a wolf. To uncover how a wolf became a dog, we need to travel back tens of thousands of years. The world looked nothing like it does today. Humans lived in small groups. Food was never guaranteed. Every day brought new dangers, and among the most successful predators roaming the landscape were wolves. At first glance, wolves and humans had little reason to cooperate. In many ways, they were competitors. Both hunted large animals, both traveled in groups, both depended on teamwork to survive. Yet these similarities may have been exactly what brought them together. For many years, scientists believed humans captured wolf pups and raised them. Today, a growing number of researchers support a different idea. The friendliest wolves may have chosen us first. Imagine a wolf lingering near a human camp, not close enough to be dangerous, not close enough to be trusted, just close enough to take advantage of scraps left behind. Those wolves gained an easy source of food. The wolves that were less aggressive had an advantage. Generation after generation, natural selection favored calmer animals. Over time, these wolves changed. Their faces became shorter, their behavior became friendlier, their fear of humans decreased. Without realizing it, humans and wolves were shaping each other's future. Eventually, the descendants of these wolves were no longer truly wolves. The first dogs had arrived, and humanity would never be the same. One fascinating detail often overlooked is that dogs were almost certainly the first domesticated animal in history. Not horses, not sheep, not cattle. Dogs came first. Long before agriculture transformed the world, dogs were already walking beside humans. They helped detect danger. They helped track prey. They may even have helped improve hunting success enough to influence which human groups survived and which did not. It's a remarkable thought. Before civilization began, humanity already had a best friend. Now let's return to those mysterious dog burials in Egypt. Ancient Egypt is famous for its pyramids, pharaohs, and mummies. But many people don't realize how important dogs were to Egyptian society. Dogs lived alongside families. They accompanied hunters. They guarded homes. Some were even given names that have survived for thousands of years. Archaeologists have discovered inscriptions bearing names such as Brave One, Reliable, and Good Herdsman. Those names feel surprisingly modern, because even thousands of years ago, people formed emotional bonds with their dogs. But the relationship went far beyond companionship. Dogs became connected to religion itself. The ancient Egyptians associated canines with protection and the afterlife. This connection was reflected in the deity known as Anubis, often depicted with the head of a canine. For centuries, dogs were viewed as symbols of loyalty, vigilance, and guardianship. And this brings us back to the mystery from the beginning. Archaeologists have uncovered enormous dog cemeteries in Egypt. Some sites contained thousands of mummified dogs. Others contained hundreds of thousands. Across various discoveries, the total number is estimated to reach into the millions. These weren't random burials. They were deliberate. They reflected a civilization that viewed dogs as deeply significant. Few people realize that long before modern dog shows, modern veterinary care, or modern pet ownership, entire civilizations were already honoring dogs in extraordinary ways. Egypt was not alone. In ancient Rome, dogs guarded villas, accompanied soldiers, and protected property. Visitors to Roman homes would sometimes encounter a warning mosaic near the entrance. Beware of the dog. More than 2,000 years later, the message remains familiar. Empires rose, empires fell, but dogs remained. The story of dogs becomes even more fascinating when we look at modern science. Fact number 1. Dogs can smell time. That may sound impossible, but researchers believe dogs can detect the changing concentration of scents throughout the day. In a sense, scent allows them to experience the passage of time differently than humans do. Fact number 2, every dog's nose print is unique. Just as humans have fingerprints, dogs possess distinctive nose patterns that can be used for identification. No two are exactly alike. Fact number 3, dogs can understand far more language than many people realize. Some exceptionally trained dogs have demonstrated the ability to recognize hundreds of words and object names. One famous border collie learned over 1,000 individual words. Fact number 4, dogs can detect certain diseases. Studies have shown that trained dogs can identify various medical conditions through scent alone. Some have detected cancers. Others can warn their owners about seizures or dangerous blood sugar changes. Fact number 5. Dogs can read human emotions surprisingly well. Research suggests dogs pay attention to facial expressions, body language, and vocal tones. In some situations, they can distinguish between happiness, sadness, anger, and fear. Think about that for a moment. Thousands of years of living alongside humans may have shaped dogs into one of the most emotionally intelligent animals on Earth, and that may explain why some dogs have achieved feats that seem almost unbelievable. In January of 1925, the remote town of Nome, Alaska, faced a disaster. A deadly diphtheria outbreak threatened the community. Without medicine, many people could die. The problem was simple. The serum needed to save lives was hundreds of miles away, and the weather was brutal. Blizzards swept across Alaska. Temperatures plunged far below freezing. Aircraft could not make the journey. Time was running out. So, a relay of sled dog teams was organized. The mission became known as the Serum Run. More than 20 mushers and over 100 dogs participated, and today, many people recognize the name Balto, but fewer people know the story of another dog, Togo. Togo led the longest and most dangerous section of the journey, through darkness, through storms, across frozen wilderness. He covered far more distance than any other lead dog in the relay. Without Togo's effort, the mission may have failed. The serum arrived, lives were saved, and one determined sled dog helped prevent a tragedy. It's one of the most extraordinary examples of canine endurance in recorded history. If Togo's story demonstrates courage, the next story demonstrates something equally remarkable: loyalty. In Tokyo, Japan, a dog named Hachiko accompanied his owner to the train station each morning. Every evening, Hachiko returned to meet him. It became a routine, day after day, year after year. Then tragedy struck. One day, Hachiko's owner suffered a fatal medical emergency and never returned home. But Hachiko did not know that. The following day, he returned to the station, and the day after that, and the day after that. He continued waiting. Weeks passed, months passed, years passed. For nearly a decade, Hachiko returned to the station, waiting for someone who would never come back. His story touched an entire nation. Today, a statue stands near the station as a tribute to one of history's most famous examples of loyalty. Whether we view the story through science, emotion, or instinct, it captures something many dog owners understand immediately. The bond between humans and dogs is unlike any other. Thousands of years ago, a wolf approached a human camp. Neither species could have imagined the future that would follow. Together, humans and dogs crossed continents, survived harsh environments, built civilizations, explored new frontiers, protected one another, and formed a partnership that continues to this day. From ancient Egyptian dog cemeteries buried beneath the desert sands, to Roman guard dogs standing watch over villas, to heroic sled dogs racing through Arctic storms, to faithful companions waiting patiently at train stations, the history of dogs is, in many ways, the history of humanity itself. And perhaps that is why dogs continue to hold a special place in our lives. Not simply because they are useful, not simply because they are intelligent, but because for thousands of years they have shared our journey. Empires have vanished, civilizations have disappeared, entire species have gone extinct, yet one partnership has endured, a partnership between a former predator and the people who eventually became its family. And it all began with a wolf.